hardest thing is having the world tell you that you're a liar. There was so much flack going down in the media, and I was being told so many lies about myself, that the best thing I could possibly do is just be quiet, because I didn't have power. Here I am yet again talking about the controversy, as opposed to talking about how amazing the climb was. I was always super bad at sports, like so bad. I was super last at running races. I mean, I'm talking about being so stressed about sports days as a primary school child that I'd end up stressed and vomiting. Paddy Freeney said, you know, when you finish this, a few of you end up being trampers. But now and again, one of you have become a climber. And I didn't even know what a climber was, but I loved how he said it.
Well, she was just keen and enthusiastic, with a very inquiring mind. In other words, she was the ideal person to take into the mountains.
I love the sophistication of nature. I think I'm spiritually attracted to the mountains. I'm quite taken by spending time in the mountains with other people. And I went with Rob Hall and Gary Ball and a guy called Bill Atkinson. And they said, oh, well, if you come up, you might have to solo because we will be one day ahead of you. They did a really good job, but there was really deep snow and they had to turn around about 7,800 metres. I was so focused. You know, you don't do this without serious amounts of focus. I knew how much I drank to the gram kind of thing. And there was a Spanish expedition as well on the climb, and the Spanish were on oxygen and they were much faster than me. So they had gone up to the summit and they'd come back to the south summit, which was 100 vertical metres from the main summit, by the time I arrived, because I actually didn't know whether I was going to go on or not at that point. I knew I had enough energy to get to the summit, and then I knew I had enough energy to get from where I was straight down if I turned around and went down, but I didn't know if I had enough to link it all up, to go to the summit, turn around, come back down from the summit, because that's where the most technical climbing is. And a little point of difference, I have to say, is there were no fixed ropes. I reckon it starts getting really hard to breathe without oxygen at about 8,400, 8,500. And the feeling of fear kind of crept up as I moved up the hill from the south summit to the real summit. And people say, what did you feel when you got to the summit? And I would always say, and it is totally the truth, I felt relief because I could turn around and go down again. I get down to the South Col that night, late that night, I'm really exhausted. And the next morning, I was just like alone on the South Col of Everest and no radio contact. And I wasn't sure how tired I'd be. So it was a fascinating and terrifying and incredibly amazing experience all at the same time. They're not like experiences you book in to have. They said that it wasn't possible that I'd climbed Everest and that I was telling a lie. That's all they said in their official statement. You know, lots of people say, well, why did they do it? Why did they say that? They hadn't summited, and if I'd summited and been recognised for summiting, then I would steal the limelight, because mine was a first New Zealand and a first world ascent. That's all. Doesn't have to be very complicated.
You know, that basically we got pipped at the post. You know, and probably didn't feel so good about it. But I don't like to speak ill of old friends who are no longer here to speak for themselves. Somebody says they did something, well, they did it, didn't they? And I know this woman is very capable and strong, and And why wouldn't it be true?
Come and meet Dino, my partner.
I'm Dean Staples and I'm known as Lydia Bradey's boyfriend.
He's telling fibs.
We often joke that we have the most number of Everest ascents in a combined household in the world.
I think it's really important for young people to look ahead and see that people who excel in different areas of the world, whether it's science or art or writing or reading or running, often start from a lower point. They don't start as heroes. They start challenged. They start going, I was never good at painting, but I drew every day. There's a big lake over the horizon. I've never done this walk. It is just fantastic. It's like a moonscape. Something new every day.